Okay, so we are at the St. Regis Hotel where we're basically spending half of our GDC, different rooms all the time, and we're catching up here with Triumph Worlds to find out a little bit more about what's been going on with Rift and where you're heading in the future. So first of all, you recently celebrated one year anniversary with Rift, and what's that year been like for you? And you had a very successful launch, and what's been going on since?
Yeah, so Rift has been a roller coaster year for us, right? We launched basically a year and like 3 or 4 weeks ago. The end of February is when we had the end of our open betas and our early release, and then March was launch. And it's been nonstop since then. The game has been super well received, both by the players and the press. We've not rested a single bit since then. We've put out patch after patch after patch after patch, right? Rift has been known, or Tryon especially, has been known for how frequently we update the game, the fact that we are providing a service to our players, and that goes in terms of updates, customer service, new features, the things they want. So we've had a number of new raids, a number of new dungeons, a whole new zone, new features such as looking for dungeon, new dynamic content or open world content in the forms of new world events, new zone events, and things like instant adventure, which is the drop-in adventure, quick play quest content that no other game out there has. And we've really just kept the pace up. So players have really responded well to that. Just now at our 1 year anniversary point, we've put our largest world event to date out, the Carnival of the Ascended, which is actually what we like to call non-stabby content. So the whole first year has been core gameplay, right? More raids, more things to kill, more stuff like that. And now we're kind of rolling into some of those other things people have been asking for. We just added weddings in 1.7, which was just about a month ago now. In fact, on Valentine's Day, we set the world record for the number of weddings in a single day. I think we had something well over 20,000 people getting married. Now, unfortunately, it didn't also count the number of divorces, as people were getting married and divorced over and over and over again. But we did have over 20,000 couples get married in a single day, which is awesome. And so the Carnival builds on that. It's a celebration of the past year, of our players, of their accomplishments, all the things that we've done. There are tons of Carnival games for people to experience. There's parades throughout all of the zones. There's lots of new rewards for players to get, vanity pets, balloons, all sorts of different things. And then, as always, we need to make sure the storyline keeps rolling. So eventually that Carnival is going to turn into the day after the Carnival, right? So all the junk and celebration's over, and people are a little bit grouchy, and kind of the conflict happens again. So the Guardians and Defiance will slowly kind of get back into that head-to-head action. And that's going to lead right into Infernal Dawn. While the Guardians of Defiance are having their little belligerent drunken brawl fest, the Wanton will actually erupt from Mount Carcera, and Malforge and Lathis will become available encounters with Infernal Dawn. In 1.8, which is coming in the next couple months, Infernal Dawn will be released. It's our next big raid. Trust me, there's a ton of things to do there. We've got 7 different boss monsters, which actually equates out to 9 to 11 encounters depending on how you stage it. Some are more traditional. Other ones, like Malforge, you're literally fighting in a volcano. You have to fight up and around this whole giant caldera as lava is moving up, and the dragon's there and his minions and everything else. So it's an epic event, right? It's not just, hey, there's a dragon in a room, let's bash it with a stick. You're really we're taking what we did with Achilleos and Hammernell and expanding it even farther. In addition to that, it's not just about raid content. We're adding a bunch more stuff as well. We'll be adding fishing. Yay, people have been asking for that since the beginning of time to the game with 1.8, as well as survival, which is kind of hey, we can fish neat things out of the world. With our fishing skill, we can get collections and artifacts and all sorts of stuff. Survival will allow you to kind of cook those items, but it's not just cooking, right? Survival also allows you to get a number of really nice utility items as well, things like tents, sleeping bags, bandages, all sorts of things that'll help people along their adventure. A little bit farther down the line, we'll add trapping to the game, so it's not just about pulling things out of the water. We want people to go around and be able to trap critters they've seen. So that fire squirrel in Free March? Well, you can catch that sucker and you can have it as a vanity pet. It's another feature that our players really have been asking for. Beyond that, we're working on a number of different things as well, like looking for guild. We're going to be adding a leaderboard system. that tracks more than just PvP, but every activity in the game. It'll have different divisions and ranks as well, so players will be matched up with players of other skill levels in each of the different types of the leaderboard categories. We'll be adding instant adventure to Ember Isle, which was a really popular request, as well as instant adventure action to earlier stages of the zones as players are leveling up. We're working on a number of new raids, a number of new encounters, and obviously a ton of new world and zone events as well.
So essentially, really like you're pushing a lot of content out to the existing players. Are you also trying to do things to invite in new players as well to sort of let them come into Rift?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, the game has been super successful. It's not just because we have an awesome game. It's because we also have an awesome publishing arm. They're not afraid to get out there and give the game away, right? We have an awesome game. We want people to try it and play it out. So we're constantly running promotionals to get people in the game. And every time we have 10 people show up, 5 people stick. So it's, you know, all about us getting more people in the game. We launched a unlimited free trial recently, so you can go all the way to level 20, no problem. If you have a current Rift account, you can log in any character you want. Pre-20, you can talk with your guildmates and everything else, even if you're not subscribing. We're so confident in the game that we're willing to do that. We're worked on a number of new features as well, like our purpose system, which we just added with 1.7, which took some of the complexity out of Rift's characters, gave new people that are new to the genre, new to Rift, an opportunity to try out our flexible class system, but with a little bit more guidance. And that's been really successful as well. And like I said before, we're trying to add a lot more activities that are a broader range. So things like fishing and trapping and weddings, those will appeal to a different player base as well.
So speaking of that, you seem to have a lot of plans. So how mapped up is the future for Rift, and sort of how flexible are you to sort of play feedback if they're saying like, oh, we didn't really like this kind of story thing, and we want to have something a little bit more like this, or we need that, or they, like, how flexible are you in your sort of plans?
Yeah. So obviously we have a roadmap. The roadmap is kind of weavy and curvy, right? We know we want to put out things on a regular basis. We change that every day, right? So yes, we're going to put out content at a regular basis. We're going to make sure that there's new raids, new dungeons, and new zones out there for people. Those are things you can plan on, right? You know that people, after they've played for a couple hundred hours, are going to be looking for something new. So obviously those are our standards, but our new features, our innovation points, things like instant adventure and, you know, Onslaught and Ember Isle and, you know, other things that people want for quality of life, like a looking for guild tool or leaderboards, etc. Those are all player driven. So we literally every single milestone sit down and go, hey, what are the players asking for? What do we have on schedule? How do we want to adjust that? So all of our features are pretty much player driven. You can actually look back at, you know, our forum feedback and our player feedback over the past year, and you can directly see that players said, hey, we really want a looking for dungeon tool. There's looking for dungeon in the game shortly thereafter. Hey, we really want to get into Warfronts quicker. We don't want the queues to take as long. Hey, we released a mercenary system that allows you to kind of cross-faction Warfront if you want to, so you can get in there faster and have more fun. Hey, we need tools to help us with our guilds. Looking for guild system. Hey, we want more RP activities. We added weddings, and we're working on other gatherings as well. It's really kind of this give and take relationship. There are subscribers. We have a service. You're not playing our great vision. You're playing the game that you want to play, and luckily we're players too, so we want to play the same game as you.
Is there any feature that player have been asking for that you're finding a little bit difficult to implement, and that you're having a little bit guilty conscience that you're not bringing out for 1.8 now?
So I may get strung up for this one, but I'd say the most popular requested item that we haven't yet announced or really talked about any plans for is housing, right? So like any other feature in Rift, we want to make sure it's AAA. We want to make sure we're going to do it right. Things like housing, while it's super popular for players and probably one of the most requested items, is something that we have to really, really do right. So it's one of those things that if and when we're going to do it, we're going to take our time doing it, and we're going to wait until we've got the right thing. Pieces of that kind of request has shown up in what we call our gatherings. So like the wedding, for example, it's the first personal instance, right? You can have your instance, you can set up your wedding, you can have the ceremony you want to have, you can have the, you know, people that you want to invite in. And so you can basically see how we take some parts of those suggestions, even if we can't do the whole thing, and start to integrate it in the world as we go.
So So is it a problem with that you didn't think about it at first, or is it a problem just getting everything in place?
MMOs are huge games, right? So it's not that we didn't think about it. I think the things that we wanted to put in the game, the list was longer than you can possibly imagine, right? So ultimately, it comes down to picking and choosing the things that are most important for you. And like I said, for us, it's polishing the things that we have. We don't want a game that has a bazillion features but does none of them really well. We want to have a really tight game that players enjoy, that have a very distinct, unique experience. So for us, it was the dynamic world content, the fact that we have hundreds of players constantly playing on the server together at any given time, and we wanted to embrace that. We didn't want to have a situation where we said, hey, we put out 100 different mediocre features. We wanted a good, solid set of smaller, more focused things that the players really enjoy, and then we'll just keep building on that constantly. I think the past year's proven that for us.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
It was my pleasure.